Welcome to A Redhead Rewriting Reality, presented by multi-genre author Kimberly Sue Iverson. A place where stories become companion to life, where stories are bridges that connect us all, and conversations feel like coming home. I am your host, Kimberly Sue Iverson, and today I'll be sharing with you a story that's close to my heart. If you prefer to read along or explore more stories, visit my website at KimberlySueIverson.com. This blogcast is intended for an adult audience. Themes and topics may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Now, get yourself comfy and make yourself at home as we dive into today's tale. Man, I apologize for the audio being so late last week in terms of YouTube especially. It wasn't technically late as I did get it up by Friday, but I was having such an issue with the internet and the storage drive that I export my audio to once it's edited, which in turn was causing major problems with the exporting and saving of the video itself. I use an external 2 terabyte hard drive that my brother gave me for saving my stuff to, writing and more as a backup, but right now it's a main drive. I think it's fixing to fail, which is worrisome. I need to find a new drive before I lose my work. They're just out of my budget right now. This one was a gaming drive my brother had sitting around he hadn't been using. Anyway, last week it kept not being read while my files were saving, and then when the files were uploading to YouTube and Spotify. So stuff would fail or kick me. Shoot, uploading to YouTube took 3 tries over 2 days. On top of it, the internet was having some major issues. Both my brother and I were struggling to do things that required the internet for a few days. I know that, as I've mentioned before, we seem to be in a valley that makes things go kinda into a dead zone, which isn't helping. I should try to get the audio done sooner to plan for that, because I do like to have the audio up on Wednesday with the blogs, but I can't do the audio until I do the blog, and the weekend is when I do the blog typically. I would love to be ahead of schedule though. I thought I might this week, but life had other plans. I know a lot of it is getting that discipline back into me for writing. Though last week, what's going on internally and emotionally, as well as physically with me, was majorly affected by the worst thing: lack of sleep. This hasn't been a good week for Kona. My brother and I aren't sure if it's something he ate, age, or just something going on with him in general. But he's been having tummy issues. A few days ago, he'd been having struggles with one of his legs especially, so I'd have to pick him up and carry him around. He's always had back and body issues, I think from being breech, and his body didn't grow as fast as the others, so he was kinda stunted. Did you hear me say your name, little sir? Not to mention that little short stack has always tumbled and fumbled downstairs. He didn't really understand stairs for a while, knew to go up and down, and he could. It was that he would halfway down just jump for it, then roly-poly down. He was so friggin' cute. His legs are just a tiny bit shorter than normal, so when he jumps and steps up things, it requires more effort than the others. You can feel his little muscles are a bit thicker and wider in the leg compared to the girls because of it. So with his being 13 now, I think he just kind of taxes his little body a bit more. Then a few days ago, he woke me around 4 a.m. coughing. He couldn't stop gagging and coughing. So I got up to get him some coconut oil, cinnamon, and honey mix. Very little cinnamon, mind you. It's a healthy remedy for dogs that can ease a cough. I do for one of them about a half teaspoon of coconut oil and a little less of honey, then a tiny dusting of cinnamon. Mix, then give it to them. Too much of any of it can cause issues. All was fine with Kona. He went to sleep, and even the next day. But then again, around the same time, he woke me throwing up. So it was all over the floor and the end of my bed. Then later that day, he had another bout, which led to us not getting much sleep the past few days. Last night, as of this post, he had another throw up, but a bit more normal for him. He's mostly been sleeping, which is good. His leg is doing better as well as his tummy, it seems. So tomorrow he will most likely get a bath because he is stinky now. I spent all day yesterday washing throw-up stuff. The day after, I'd washed everything just because it had been a bit and needed it. So that was fun. Hopefully, though, all is better. Seems so. I was about to make a vet appointment for Kona. I mean, being 13, he may be getting to that point anyway. He's taken a huge hit these past few years with everything. He feels really deeply, and I've noticed a dramatic shift in the way he is. I'm hoping he has a few more years, but I do have to face the heartbreaking reality that he may not have long either. He will be the hardest loss I could ever face. If I wasn't broken from all of this, that'll break me. I cannot even type this without tearing up thinking about it. That honey mixture I know didn't cause the tummy ache though, but I'm not sure what did. I'd used the mixture to heal a kennel cough the dogs picked up from a vet I now abhor around here. They blamed us for Chewbacca getting it, then passing it to other dogs, and yet they board dogs at that vet, and he didn't have it until the vet visit. The same situation took place years later after we quit taking our dogs to them. I'd come across a post on social media from them essentially blaming everyone again but them for another bout of it. Because of that treatment and me noticing how horrified the dogs looked and miserable every time we took them there, that vet was no longer chosen. The dogs were not happy after visiting, not healthy. They were just not a good vet. I had looked up natural ways to treat the cough so we wouldn't have to take them back to the vet and give them the nasal spray that said it may not even work. The coconut oil mix cleared everything up within a few days for some, a few hours for others. Sadly, I think it's a lot of what led my Aussie to getting really sick not long after. It took her longer to get better, and later on she got sicker. Not from that, but I think it damaged her immune system. We'd taken her to the vet, a different one, because she was throwing up a lot, which for her was abnormal, and she had a huge lump that was around the hip and stomach area. In the end, I made the decision to put her down because it was a kidney issue going on. I think they were failing. I can't remember. And the vet said that the tumor was a big one that wasn't just on the outside. It wouldn't be good for her if he did take it out because she'd lose too much inside from it, and the operation itself would tax her. It would be expensive to treat all of that too, the kidneys, the tumor, and being older, it was already risky. She was either 13 or 14 at the time. 14, I think. But I have learned that using that coconut oil mix can help with a lot of cough issues for dogs only. This, mind you, is coming from a person who can hear a sound one of these dogs makes and know who it is and what's going on with them more often than not. Not just me being flippant with their health. It always confused my mom and brother when I always knew the exact dog who'd make a certain sound when we had all of them, because some of them had very similar sounds. You learn. I spent their life raising them, knowing them, and tending them, not relying on vets all the time, because over time they'd gotten really expensive, and we were fortunate that many of the vets knew us, worked with us anyway, so we could tend them at home. I'd wanted to be a vet for a long time because of it. I study so much on dog and pet care, but when I was in my 20s or so, and I'd gone to a vet with the intent on potentially interning, I realized later on I couldn't do it. It taxed me enough tending my own pets. I couldn't imagine having to tend someone else's pets and potentially having to deal with them being sick, helping put them down, telling the owner. Similar to why I didn't end up being a psychologist or similar when I'd studied that as well, psychology. Because I realized that I could handle a lot of issues with people around me, but tending to another's problems and living in that space of it for years and years, taking on another's problems, I couldn't do it. Boundaries and all, but I feel too deeply, and anyone who works in those fields knows eventually the work can affect you if you're not careful. It is also why I didn't go the bookkeeping and accounting route when I studied that as well. Same with catering and gourmet cooking. It's just those things that you learn as you go. And I'd see the future aspects of those careers and see myself miserable. I'd see myself no longer enjoying the work and not just hating it, but to the point that I couldn't handle it mentally. The stress I'd take on myself from that work, I knew no, it wasn't right. When I say those things, I often feel like I come across as this flippant and, oh no, I can't do that. It requires work. But that's not part of it for me. I work incredibly hard with my author career. I did it with my Avon business, above and beyond because of the passion. And one thing I love is that my author career, and even now building a podcast that I am around it, It incorporates everything that I have loved. I had considered being a defense lawyer too for a time. Never went the study route for that. Teacher as well. It's more that it's not the hard work for me. It's what I'd bring into it. And more than just it's gonna be hard and it's work. If I can't be present and actually do a job, then that means the other side is going to just fire me because I'm not going to be doing the work right. I would be the worst employee that particular job or career could have. Take being a vet. I'd be sick to my stomach, crying, sad, and I'd not be able to perform the work. Same as something in the medical field. I would end up breaking down from the stress, so I would be the one needing the care. I can't mentally and emotionally handle severe stressors. It's a handicap I have. I know it. I admit to it. I would not be able to perform a career or job in fields that I could not physically perform good at. I shut down when too much is thrown at me at once. Far too many have done that to me when I say I can't handle tons of stress and things at once, and then for whatever reason they wonder why I break down. Because I cannot handle severe stress. Ongoing severe stress and that sort of load. Can any of us? I've dealt with it far too long to the point my physical body has been affected and said, enough. Stress that far too many actually put on me, no matter how many boundaries I used to put up, talks I'd have, and all of it. I ended up in that position too much. Many would have just said, don't do it. One of those happened to be my mom's health going downhill and her physical starting to get affected. She was not my responsibility, I'd be told. And yet, we had no money to hire help, no money to afford a nurse, to put her in a care facility, and yes, all of those cost money. And nobody else could stand her. What was I to do? Sit her in her room, lock her in there, and just ignore her? I can't even with people sometimes. I get that many can't handle that sort of thing too. Totally understand. Especially if you have the means to have another take over. Just like I said, but when situations arise, I'm going to do everything in my power to handle it, no matter how hard it is. That's sadly what got me to this space I'm in. I broke more than I ever have before. Having to give up Mila, my Doberman, was definitely the biggest one too many for me. That broke me. I had dogs lay in my lap and pass away. Over a year of terrifying anxiety constantly because I was working day and nearly all night to ensure I could pay just that next bill for lights, water, heat I didn't care that much about. I worked on little sleep, constant anxiety, fears, and the reality is that I'd been living in a survival state for far longer. Desperate survival state. Everything went into just making it through the next minute. Making that one extra dollar that kept the lights on and water. Not doing anything extra. I'd been living under a constant state of stress for many more years than that, though. Taking care of my mom, having her constantly griping. I think I'm still very much stuck in that survival mode, but also on this precipice of the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. Finances being the absolute biggest trigger, as I've said. I've had people tell me that I would probably qualify for disability, while then others push me to find work, or you see people state that those on disability are lazy and otherwise. The reality is I just want to make my own way, in a way that I can. Writing has been that path for me for a long time, and it's becoming doing the podcast or blogcast. I do not want to rely on another, as in the government. And yeah, that means that my income isn't a normal paid hourly wage that is solid and dependable. But if they could offer an author like me that sort of income, that'd be fantastic. It's not reality. I want to do this. I will damn well do this. Clawing and crying, bleeding and whatever else to start to finally make income start to flow in. It'd be even nicer if I had enough consistently that I knew I could stay in this house too. My brother and I are already really connecting with this space and the people around here. It's a really good neighborhood, and it'd be nice to remain here for many years, so I can settle. It's peaceful, not quiet, but peaceful, and a safe space for my fears to finally start to ease. I've been thinking more about the ASMR stuff too, and how others have said I'd be really good at it. The types that I could do, or the types I'd want to. Other things to do that I might want to try. I don't want to rely on a government that's been known to have complications, rules and regulations for their so-called help, so that one minute, oh, here is the money, and the next is, how dare you make a few extra on your own, we are ending this support. Or how others have had to find a 9-to-5 job with low wages just to qualify for it, only to then not be qualified because they make too much. Way to incite more of my financial fears being reliant on that sort of inconsistency and lack of control over a space. That's what led me to this breaking. I want to be able to make money doing things I love that bring others joy like this, even if it's just listening to me reading classic books or other things I create. I realized why creating for people is so important for me and why I love it so much. Because I love to take care of people and make them feel good, make them feel happy, bring them joy, serve them. I can't physically do that, especially right now, but this is actually how I can and do. Writing is how I can and do. It isn't just the act of creation that I love, but the service to others. This is how I serve people. I like being able to do it on a bigger scale too. A lot of the stuff in my mind I've been considering is another form of that. Like doing custom things using my voice for others. Recording what they'd want for a fee. I can't think of the word. Requests for it. Commissions. That's the word I'm looking for. If there's anything that comes to mind for you that you think I'd be good at, please feel free to email or comment. I'm always open to it. I certainly have a ways to go before my voice is really good at narration and the like, and I'm aware of it, but that's part of what this is about when I do it in audio form. Getting better, practicing. I don't have quite as much discipline as I should to do it behind the scenes. Doing it like this holds me accountable, and I push myself harder for that reason. To make the deadlines, to make these posts, to make the videos. Knowing others are wanting it, waiting for it, listening to it. I might get anxious and freaked out if my numbers start rising, and I think about that too much though. Shy and reserved Kim will kick in, and oh boy. So remind me later on not to think about that. I try to just focus on one person listening, and that's it when I record the audio. That helps. In the same breath as me mentioning reading classic books, as I've mentioned with the audio form of this blog, the blogcast, my podcast, whatever you want to call it, I do want to bring in other forms of narration too. I think part of me holds back, and was, because I feel like I'm not good at this. But we have to start somewhere. I'm still a hardcore perfectionist. All that's taken place the past some years has utterly destroyed my faith in self, my confidence, and I'm an insecure little mouse, but I'm trying to do better. That's a huge reason I said last week I probably come across as smug and arrogant to people, or cold as I have been told, but that's the last thing I am. I have attitude when I often talk, unless I force myself to full on tell self, calm it, gosh darn it. Take a breath, slow down, soften up. I have to actually mentally and emotionally tell myself to bring in that softer side. I have noticed that I've been bad about allowing myself to read the audio too fast lately, as I try to get back into that soft Kim space, the relaxing Kim. Those worst days are often when I've not been having time to record, and I'm worried my brother will get up and I won't have the quiet to record anymore. I can speed read and go into normal hyper Kim, who is the one some have said is too much energy. Too much, basically. Bubbles on hyperdrive. I want this to be more relaxing and comforting to listen to. I know that I have a lot of attitude and things I am working through too, which doesn't help. So I definitely have improvements to do and a ways to go for really settling in with this. One of the ways maybe I can help myself more is reading classics as I wanted to do a while ago. I think when I was doing my writing updates on my YouTube channel, I had mentioned I wanted to. Could also be why I don't like recording video even more right now. Not just the lack of time and quiet, but confidence and all has been totally shattered, and I'm trying to pick up those tiny little pieces of insecurity and mold them back into something. I don't see what others see when they look at me. I don't hear what others hear when they listen to me. I see what my mother made me see and hear. A disgusting, loud, obnoxious voice that she didn't want to hear because she was sick of it. Sick of me. I was always talking. Her words. I was always wanting the attention on me, and she hated my voice. I was the monster in the mirror, the slut, the whore, the pig, the lazy ass, the fat ass, and more. I wasn't the girl you see and hear. I am not still that person. If I take a photo of myself, I don't like it. It's why I don't constantly take photos and share them. I hear in my head all those critiques of not being pretty, being ugly, being selfish and braggy, of being an attention whore and beyond that. I don't like listening to the audio when I edit, though I think many could say that, but there's almost a level of disgust in me when I look at myself or listen to myself. Those are things I need to improve upon too, for sure. As you can tell though, I am not afraid to be vulnerable to random people. Now that deep vulnerability to a man, as I've said, that one utterly terrifies me. I have been so deeply hurt by those I've let in deep, especially men, that I'm not comfortable with it. It will take a very special guy over time to really get into that deeper layer. I reach a point with many where suddenly the little spikes pop out and the thorns need to get whittled down and smoothed over with sandpaper. I am not able to do that on my own. Another has to almost force it. That's how my best friend and I ended up close. She wasn't afraid to be open and confront me about things, while being supportive, acknowledging I may not realize what I'd been doing, and ensuring I knew no matter what we said or did, she wasn't leaving. She was staying, period. That alone, repeated numerous times, is what helped me. I still struggle to think she'll stay, but she instinctively knew deep down that I needed that reminder that she wasn't going anywhere. She had a level of tolerance, knowing that most of my reactions were fear and defense-based, that she didn't take them personal. I was able to feel safe and secure in that friendship with her. It is still a struggle for me at times, but I think what helps is that she understands a lot of what I went through with my mom on a personal level. Of course, my communicating my own struggles is a huge help too. I have to be super open and communicate too. I will repeat too that I'm very grateful that you stick with me through all this learning and failing I'm doing, making mistakes with the audio and more as I try to improve and settle into this. Not just akin, but in general for it all. Be aware that a lot of chaos will be taking place for a while here until I find my footing and until I settle in more. I apologize if I get overtly annoying or gripey and complainy, but I do notice it and try to tell myself I need to stop, chastise myself, all of it. I'm going to look up some classic books to read that aren't the typical ones most do. Maybe for a first book, I might do some normal ones. That way, if I'm messy about narrations, you'll know the book enough that my errors are easier to forgive. One of these upcoming posts will include the titles of some, and you can vote on which you would like most. A comment, email, I don't care. I have to do classics to read because they're out of copyright and won't get me into trouble. If I had an author who wanted me to read their work, I'd be happy to. But as I've said before, I'll read anyone's they'd like. More to come. Thank you for reading and subscribing. I'm beyond grateful you chose to spend this time with me. What are your thoughts? Engage with me and start a conversation. Just don't be rude about it. And as always, your shares are so incredibly appreciated. Share with anyone you think may enjoy this. Word of mouth is the best form of expanding the reach, so this reaches the eyes and ears of whoever may enjoy it. My donation link, if you'd like to support me and help keep this going, is ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. That's ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. Every little bit helps, so thank you for your generosity. Remember, kings and queens, everyone is fighting battles inside nobody can see. Who are you willing to see today? And who are you willing to let see you today? I hope someone brings a smile to you today, or you can bring a smile to someone else. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you are more than welcome to, and I'd love to connect to you there. For Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, I have to use Kimberly Sue Iverson. There is also a page for Redhead Rewriting Reality on Facebook, but for X, Twitter, Blue Sky, Telegram, and most other socials, you can find me under Kimber Bites. That's KIMBERBITES, which is what I normally use. Do you like Snapchat? Feel free to add me under Feisty Kitty. That's FEISTYKITTY. I had originally installed it for a friend, but have since just left it up. I usually try to use the same picture across the board, but you can always ensure you have the right person by checking my website link cave, which is KimberlySueIverson.com/link-cave. Want a chance for your story to be featured? Whether you're an author starting out, published and want a boost, have a tale of old to tell that has been passed down through family, or just want to share your own life experience, get in touch. Email stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com. That's stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com.